Howdy, ladies and gentlemen. It's your host, Richard Zane, on the It's About Us podcast. Mitch Mason is going to take advantage of the bye week this week and study for tests, so you're stuck with me for the next few minutes. We're just going to go ahead and jump right into it. Last week, Texas A&M hosted Tennessee in a battle of unbeaten top 10 teams at Kyle Field, and it was everything as advertised. Aggies did win in double overtime. Armani Watts sealed the deal. Couple of question marks for the Aggies. Obviously, Myles Garrett's health is a big one. He was featured in a limited role. He did, in my opinion, help force that interception in the second overtime. After the game, when asked how much he was hurting, obviously he was seen with a visible limp. He said he was not hurting enough to quit on his team. So I love that from the guy. As far as defense goes, they gave up almost 700 yards of offense and let Tennessee hang around much longer than they needed to. The Aggies forced 7 turnovers, 6 of them were fumbles, the 7th obviously the interception to seal the deal. But anytime you have 6 takeaways, you should not be involved in a double overtime game. You should put it away handily. Tennessee doesn't. If you cut Tennessee's turnovers in half, they beat the Aggies by 2 touchdowns. Travion Williams had that fumble late. I still love that kid. He leads the country in yards per carry. Trevor Knight is 4th on that list. The Ags have a lot to work on going into the bye week. Obviously, they need to get healthy. That's first and foremost. We need people like Myles. We need Speedy ready to go. We need Keith Ford back. Really help out that triple-headed monster out of the running game with Travion Williams and James White. Aggies are idle, as I said this week. They are looking forward to their matchup in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, with what we can assume will be the top-ranked Crimson Tide and the crazy Nick Sabans. Alabama does play Tennessee this week in a battle of top 10 teams. They are on the road at Knoxville in a rivalry game, and as we said earlier this week with the Aggies, really anything could happen in that game. Tennessee still has the looks of a team of destiny and could be a college football playoff team with just 1 loss. They don't have much of a tough schedule after this game against Alabama. If they could get through it, they could easily get to Atlanta with 1 loss and pull an upset there over either A&M, Alabama, whomever, and really get into the college football playoff as a 1-loss team. But other than that, that should be a real fun game. A lot of us in College Station will be focusing in on that one. Tennessee and Alabama, 2:30 kickoff on CBS. Around the top 10 last week, big thing to note is number 6 Houston went down 45-40 in Annapolis to the Naval Academy. The midshipmen forced the upset. Huge upset. Looks like Tom Herman needs to notify Houston that he's leaving at the end of the year now that their college football hopes are over. Could be headed to Texas, could be headed to Baylor, USC, wherever. We'll see where he ends up at the end of this year. LSU's another one that could hire him away from the Cougs down at UH. But really kind of heartbreaking for the Cougars this year. They had so much hope going into this season. Looks like Greg Ward Jr.'s Heisman hopes are over now that he lost to an unranked Navy team that is now ranked 25th after pulling the upset. Right now, A&M's your best team in Texas. Only Baylor is the only other team with an undefeated record. They are 5-0. They will play Kansas this week. They're ranked 11th. Like we said, Baylor's really got 3 straight bye weeks. They had a bye last week. They play Kansas and have a bye next week. So, not really much to mention from those in Waco. Right now, A&M, your top team in Texas, and that's a title I will gladly take right now. Around the top 10 this week, other than the game between Alabama and Tennessee, we have number 2, Ohio State, going on the road to face number 8, Wisconsin. The Buckeyes and Badgers will do business. I think J.T. Barrett and company are just going to absolutely manhandle the Badgers at home at Camp Randall Stadium. Although College Game Day is there, it's a late game on ABC. It's the game of the week. Should be a fun one, but all eyes, in my opinion, are focused on Knoxville, and the SEC is the best game in the best conference is Alabama-Tennessee. Other things to note in the SEC, we were sad to hear of the passing of LSU's live mascot, Mike the Tiger, this week. Very sad news. In my opinion, live mascots are really what makes college football so special. It just adds to the pageantry. We love our Miss Rev here in College Station. Texas loves Bevo. Ralphie at Colorado's a big one. I know Baylor's got some Bears on campus. Uga, Smokey, other ones I'm not naming, I'm sorry. But we're here with LSU during this tough time. And, I don't know what their plans are as far as replacing Mike the Tiger. But I really want to see LSU come out on top and win this week against Southern Miss for Mike. And I think Coach O and the rest of the Bayou Bengals will get that done for Mike. Other than that, not much to talk about from College Station, at least. We're on the bye week. There's no practice for the Aggies on Saturday. I was told that that's what the water bottle celebration was about after the game on Saturday. If you stuck it out at Kyle Field for all 5 hours last week, you're pretty awesome. That was a tough game to just sit still and just watch happen. It was exhausting. My legs didn't work for a couple days afterwards. I was so dehydrated at the end that when I tried to cry tears of joy, nothing came out. But really just an awesome weekend at Kyle Field last weekend. Ags, if you're sitting at home this week or you're traveling abroad around the state of Texas and elsewhere in the country, enjoy it. For me, I'm going to do what Mitch is doing this week, and I'm going to study this week and get ready for tests next week. We will be back with you with a regular show next week. Mitch will be back, and I won't just have to talk for almost 7 minutes now by myself. But, you can keep yourself occupied with some good college football. The NFL's back. Obviously, the Cowboys are doing well. My Lions found a way to beat the Philadelphia Eagles, who were previously undefeated last week. Not college baseball. Major League Baseball their postseason is in full effect. 2 AL teams have already clinched their trip to the ALCS, Cleveland and Toronto. Fightin Texas Aggie Tyler Naquin is playing for those Cleveland Indians, so if you don't really have a vested interest now that the Texas Rangers are out, pull for those Indians. In the National League, the Giants and Cubs are in Game 4 right now as we speak. My Dodgers just forced a Game 5, and other than that, there's a lot of stuff going on. October's a fun time. College football's at the halfway point now. The NFL's back in full swing. Hockey, the NHL, and the NBA, or basketball, they're all just coming back. And the first time, or for really the only time all 4 years until baseball ends later this month, early November, we're going to have all 4 major sports back. And for someone who loves sports such as myself and many of you out there, it's a great time. So take it easy on the bye week, Ags. Hopefully BYE doesn't come out and hand us our first loss. And always remember, the Ags are 6-0 for the first time in over 20 years. We will be back with you on the It's About Us podcast next week. So for Mitch Mason, even though he's not here, I'm Richard Zane, and enjoy the bye week. Thanks and gig 'em.